Okay, considering time, I think we should get off as we have quite a few people here today who want to tell us some exciting stuff in a quite short time span. So let's get going on some of the practicality first before we get started. First of all, you have entered a HubSpot user group for the Nordic countries. And this user group has been running for quite some years now, where we quarterly meet on subjects that the community find important to attend and talk about. And that's definitely why we're here together as well today. As a housekeeping thing only, I would just want to say that, of course, you will get the slides available and you will get the recording available after the session. So feel confident you'll get that afterwards. We will handle that as well. And you will also have the opportunity during this session to ask your questions. We have people following the session and will either attend the Q&A that you can see at the bottom, or they will try to answer them there. And if something needs a more detailed answer, we can definitely come back on those as well. So I hope we'll have a great session together here today. First of all, just to say who am I? I'm Lars. I work at Helion B2B and is part of running this user group, and have worked together with HubSpot for quite some years now. And you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn if you so please. That said, I would like to go directly into today's subject, which is the HubSpot Service Hub. And to set the scene, I want to start with a reflection on the landscape we are all operating in. For a long time, customer service was kind of viewed as a cost center and something you had to do, but often in, let's just be honest, in an unwilling and hesitant way. But if you're in a revenue generating business today, and I assume we all are, that narrative has completely flipped. Customer service is no longer just about fixing problems. It is the single most crucial lever for retaining revenue and expanding it over time. So, and we also know that acquiring a new customer is way more expensive than keeping an existing one. But retention is only possible if your service setup can actually keep up with that evolving need of your customer base. So if your team is drowning in manual work, or if your data is siloed away, you aren't just losing time, you are leaking revenue. And this brings us, surprisingly enough, back to the HubSpot Service Hub. If I'm truly honest, if we looked at Service Hub a few years ago, it was a good tool, but it was not a great tool. But the conversation we want to have with you today is about the evolution we've seen on Service Hub in the last 12 to 18 months. HubSpot has invested heavily in expanding the features and the power of this hub. And I believe we have reached a tipping point where Service Hub is no longer just a nice to have add-on. It is a fully viable enterprise-ready solution capable of handling complex customer service operations across industries. I also believe we're seeing a level of upmarket readiness now that allows us to consider Service Hub instead of other support solutions out there. But now with the added power being connected to the HubSpot Smart CRM, so we have data shared between marketing, sales, and customer service. So I guess today the greatest question is, how should we tackle all this? Historically, I believe we saw two very different worlds. On one side, you had scale support, reactive firefighters handling tickets, and on the other side, you had customer success, which were the proactive relationship builders, and still are. These used to be separate teams, using separate tools and often not talking to each other. And the strategic vision behind the modern Service Hub, and specifically all the help desk workspace we'll share today and we'll discuss today, is to merge these experiences. And I believe the goal is to provide a unified workspace where Reactive support becomes more efficient through AI and better routing, and proactive success becomes data-driven, allowing you to see risks before they become churn. So what's not to like? So we're kind of moving away from treating tickets as isolated incidents and moving toward a world where every interaction informs the entire customer journey, whether it's the help desk for your agents or the AI features reducing manual load. So, in bold words, I believe you could say that the strategy is about unification. But I won't let you just take my words for it. The reason we organized this session is that we wanted to go straight to the source. And we have invited no less than 4 of the product managers directly behind the Service Hub evolution. And as we just talked about a few minutes ago, we are very happy they are here because it's actually quite early in the morning for some of you. So it's great to see you here today. And what I hope we will get to cover is items like the help desk workspace and how your reps can manage and actually live in the tool. It will be around ticket logic, all new things about splitting and routing and macros. And of course, we can't avoid talking about AI and how you can integrate the intelligence into the daily workflows. So for me, my hope today is quite simple. Use this short hour to get a genuine overview of this situation and time to reflect on your current setup. So with that, I'm trying to hand this over to Mark. And Mark, I'll try to hand over the screen to you by doing this. Then you should be able to steal it from me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let me see if this works. All right. Can you all see my screen? I'm just testing here. You'll also be able to see this in a minute. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. I'll get started. Perfect. Thank you so much, Lars, and great meeting everybody. My name is Mark. I'm a product manager at HubSpot for the Service Hub reporting and insights experience. And I brought a few colleagues. You will all get to meet them in a minute. And yeah, we're excited to be here. We're excited to show you what Service Hub and Help Desk is all about. And yeah, a quick note here. We are going to share some future developments as well, some kind of forward-looking ideas and concepts. So just be aware of these are kind of our plans right now, and they might change, of course. Just want to make sure you're aware. But we want to share this with you, and we're excited to share some cool new stuff with you today. All right. So first of all, as Lars already said, we love questions. So please share any questions you have, and we answer them either directly or after the hack. We also love everybody's feedback. So after this hack, if you want to reach out and share your feedback, have questions, etc., please do so. There is also currently a community AMA, Ask Me Anything, going on in the HubSpot community about specifically help desk reporting and insights. So please feel free to take a look. We'll share the link afterwards. And yeah, let's continue the conversation after this meeting was completed as well. All right. We also love asking questions. So before I get into it, I would love to know who here is somehow familiar with the Service Hub, who's tried it out, maybe is already a user. Just answer in the chat, kind of add a note. I know it. I've been in the Service Hub. I know what it's about. We can just get a bit of a feel of who is already familiar, because of course we don't want to start from scratch if you all are super experts in the Service Hub. So we'll get some guidance here. Oh, nice. Okay. Familiar with it. Very good. Cool. Okay. So nothing net new. Amazing. Perfect. Okay. I feel like almost everybody is familiar with it. All right, so that changes my demo. That's good. Thank you for answering this. This is really helpful. So we'll try to tailor this to some more kind of advanced features as well. I was planning to do a high-level overview of everything. I'll keep that shorter so we can dig into the specifics and details that that you all are hopefully most interested in. All right. Cool. So I'll do like a quick intro as well into kind of where we've seen the Service Hub evolve. But the main part of today will definitely be demos. We'll talk a little bit about customer success very briefly. Then we'll dive deeper into help desk and reporting on help desk. And then, as Lars already mentioned, there's a bunch of other like really cool topics like spaces, macros, ticket splitting, customer agent, and yeah. Get excited and yeah, feel free to again ask questions. And if there's any questions left, we'll open it up at the end of our session. All right, so just a quick introduction here. As you probably know, HubSpot's mission is to help millions of organizations grow better. In Service Hub specifically, we want to do that by scaling support and driving retention. Lars already mentioned this, and you can see this is our core mission. So this is what we really care about. Now, in the past, in the old way, there were like two different teams, as Lars mentioned. There were also two different types of software providers who kind of were very good in the scaling support case and in the driving retention space. However, what we kind of worked on here at HubSpot Service Hub is kind of this new way of the HubSpot customer platform as a single source of truth for both of these goals, scaling support and driving retention. So that's really what the Service Hub brings to life. You can see these are kind of the different CX operation dimensions, I guess, we think about. As alluded for, we'll focus on customer support, but all of this can be covered and worked in on the HubSpot Service Hub. All right, just a few numbers here. We think that some of you might kind of connect to these findings. We did a kind of survey and found some interesting things, which kind of gave us the incentive and motivation to continue in our journey in Service Hub. So we found that 62% of CX leaders have decreased budget. 97% of CX leaders want to improve collaboration with marketing and sales. And you know, HubSpot is an all-in-one platform. 82% of CX leaders are being asked to take on more sales-like responsibilities. And then at the same time of all of these kind of specific challenges, only 35% of CX leaders say the data that they need is fully integrated with the tools they use. So that's kind of the core of what we're trying to do. We hope that you can connect to some of these challenges that you're seeing, and that's why we want to kind of expand and build out the Service Hub further. All right, that's all theory now. Let's jump right into the practice and into kind of the demos. You will, of course, get the recording of this of this meeting and the deck, of course, as well. But I also link you some general clickable demos and kind of the HubSpot Academy video on what's the help desk workspace if you want to take a look at it later. All right, I already mentioned what we're going to do, so let's jump right into it. So I'm right here in the HubSpot global home, and you know, you all said you're quite familiar with it already, but I do want to point out that kind of on the little bell icon here, you have the help desk and the customer success. And help desk is all about scaling support, whereas customer success is all about driving revenue. You can also think of this as kind of proactive and reactive customer success. So the proactive customer success will be the customer success feature here, and the reactive one will be the help desk here. I'm going to spend a minute in here if just to give you some kind of curiosity on the customer success space, but we will focus on the help desk later on. So really, again, this is for proactive support. So if your team has kind of customers they work with, they want to keep these customers, this is the space where they can manage their customers. There's different ways to kind of evaluate kind of what are the recent actions that you have to do on specific tasks, on specific customers, use specific agents as well that you can help set up. And you have different health score overviews here. Health score is one of the most powerful features here, I believe, that will help you to really get a good understanding of kind of which customers are at risks, which are healthy, etc., etc. Now, you as a customer success manager, you'll be able to sit here and look at all your customers and all the different kind of views that you set up for yourself, really similar to kind of all the table views you know in HubSpot. I think the core piece here is that you can connect kind of the revenue as well. You can connect the renewals. You can create different deal pipelines as well to make sure you keep track of, you know, when is this customer renewing, when you need to talk to them again. And some additional things here, you can kind of connect your calendar. So in this way, you'll be able to see when are your next kind of meetings coming up with your customers. And of course, as the product manager for reporting and insights, I'm always excited to see a dashboard. So you can see kind of dashboards. You can actually add and manage several dashboards and embed them right into your customer success suite. Again, this was just a teaser. Please let us know if you want to learn more. But without further ado, let me hop right into the help desk. All right. I like to start on the help desk board view just because, historically, a lot of other objects have used the board view, and we have it in help desk as well. So, somebody who's completely new to this space, they see this familiar screen. They have this board view of the tickets. You can see the different ticket pipelines, and it's very similar to, what you might have seen before. Now, different support organizations want different kind of views, and different support reps have different preferences. Some support reps might want to work with this view, but if you look at the layout settings here, there's a lot of other fun views you can use. I personally like the split view most because it gives you all the information right away. It's a lot of information all at once, but as a support rep, you can quickly look through these tickets, read through what's going on, hop into the next one, see what's going on here, and kind of decide what is the most urgent one. You can add different notes. You can add all kinds of interesting information. And if you choose, let's say, my name's Kevin, I'm the ticket owner of this specific ticket, and I choose to work on this ticket. Of course, I did already see that this is already overdue. I can see kind of when the SLA became overdue. This is, of course, a demo portal, so there's a lot of overdue data in here, but you can really easily identify what's most important to work on. Now, if Kevin is in this support ticket, he'll be able to quickly scan the ticket, but he sees there's a lot of text, so he wants to actually go down here and be like, all right, what's the summary of all of this? So you have like AI that helps you create a little summary of what's been going on. AI is also helping Kevin here to get all this kind of sorted, right? For example, the category property here is also created and filled by AI for Service Hub enterprise portals. Now, Kevin can also go in and be like, all right, I want to actually understand and edit this name, and have AI help me do that. All right, okay, so this is not just order 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually all about an order delay. All right, really cool. Kevin now knows what this is all about and gives us a good overview of that. Cool. All right, what would Kevin do next? Well, he's kind of understanding what this ticket is all about, and now he's interested to see how he can help out. So this is where something we call knowledge sources comes in, also powered by kind of AI with brief suggestions. So for example, the short answer here is, okay, apparently the customer is looking for who are your recommended bike vendors. All right, I've got the short answer. I can use that right away. I don't have to look through different knowledge base articles, etc. Something else I really want to point out here is reply recommendations. You can see that the customer agent has already proposed something for Kevin to write. Go and edit. He's got the whole block here. You can play around with it, change it around, change the tone, etc. But this is all ready for him to work with. All right. You might have seen some of these things, but this was like a holistic introduction of what a support rep can do in Service Hub. As you can see, there's different views they can use. They can customize to their needs, and they don't need to go anywhere else. They live out of the help desk and can work out of the help desk. They don't need to look into any other screens. That's kind of our goal here. The left sidebar here is something that my colleague will talk a lot about, which I'm going to let her take the lead on that. One thing I do want to call out is that we have customer support reps using help desk, but I imagine some of you might also be leaders of customer support teams. And that's where these tabs in the top here come into play. So the help desk summary tab, for example, gives you a view of what's going on today, so you can measure the operational health of your team. So you can see all the tickets that were closed today, what's the average time to first reply today, the average time to close today. You can see kind of what are trends in text-based insights. You can look at, okay, how many reps are currently available? How many tickets do they have assigned? For example, Lara has 0 tickets assigned, but she's available. So maybe let's assign her a ticket. You can quickly look at kind of your SLA progress from today and a lot of different other important high-level insights. One of my favorite data points here are the message analytics. You can see how many messages you received today, but you can also see how long the customer had to wait on average for an answer today. So the average customer wait time 4 tickets from today. And then peak hours for incoming messages is also interesting because, you don't know when, a lot of tickets come in, when you need a lot of kind of support reps to work the support queue. Something else here that I find really cool is that this is also comparing to the same time yesterday. So what that means is, let's assume this says 10 a.m. This is kind of, okay, this is the peak message hour for today. But then you can see, okay, actually yesterday it was a different time. So that's really interesting for you to see, okay, this might not be just the peak for the day. Yesterday, the peak was even later in the day. So very interesting here. I talked to you about my excitement for dashboards. You can see the Analyze tab here with kind of all the dashboards, all the most important kind of KPIs you need in here for a support organization, measure over time, plan your organization and your headcount. Now, I do want to mention coaching here. It's also a dashboard, but with more advanced functionality. It's got a little bit cleaner UI where you can like quickly look at, okay, I just want to think about one-touch tickets right now and look at these data in here. It also has new data points like SLA adherence as well as one-touch tickets. You can see something here called Breeze QA. This is one of these forward-looking statements I was going to mention. I can't show you yet, but essentially what this does, it will look at all the tickets and do quality assurance and measure specific things like tone and clarity and empathy on all your tickets and gives you that insight of how well your support reps are doing to leaders of support teams. All right, I've spoken enough. I will now hand over to Smriti. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll be watching the chat for any questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Let me take the screen. All right, can everyone see the screens?
Looking great.
Awesome, thanks. Well, hi everyone, great to meet you all. My name is Smriti, my pronouns are she, her, and today I'm excited to chat with you about how large teams can scale and organize within HelpDesk. So as many of you know, as teams grow, it becomes harder to stay organized. There are more tickets to handle, more people to onboard, and without the right structure, work can become harder to track and manage. And as volume increases, these challenges can only get amplified. So to prevent you from feeling this pain, HelpDesk comes with configurable spaces. So these spaces let you quickly build dedicated working areas inside HelpDesk so that your support team can hit the ground running. And the result is that teams can focus on tickets that are relevant to them, information stays contextual to what agents are actually working on, and admins can quickly reconfigure spaces as teams grow, shift, and evolve. So let's jump over into the product so I can give you a tour of Spaces. So Spaces are very quick to create. You just go to the settings page here, jump into the Spaces section, and jump into this two-step flow. You quickly name your space. You just give it a description. So I'm going to call this my tier 1 ticket space. And then I'm going to give it an avatar to personalize it. That's step 1. And then step 2, I'm simply going to add my team. So this is my tier 1 space. I'm going to add my tier 1 team. Now I cheated a little bit before this meeting and pre-created some spaces. So I do have a tier 1 space here. Let's jump into it to see what is within the space. Okay, so we're back in HelpDesk, and down at the left corner, you'll see this is where the spaces live. So right now we're within the tier 1 space, and because spaces are dedicated working areas for teams, every ticket that you see within this space will be relevant to the tier 1 team. So this would be a ticket that's either routed to the tier 1 team or assigned to someone on the tier 1 team. Below here, you have these default views. So these come with the space itself. You can also create custom views for the space, and these are going to be automatically filtered down to the teams of the space. You can also create private views as well. And so in this space, for example, I have 2 custom views. I have one for tier 1 escalated tickets, and I have a private view that I created for myself. Additionally, spaces are also optimized for collaboration. So let's imagine I'm a tier 1 agent and a really complex ticket comes in. So I'm in my view here and I see this new ticket. Ticket is called SSO login error impacting multiple VIP users. So right off the bat, I know this is a high impact issue that might require a deeper technical expertise. So I'm going to actually escalate this ticket to the tier 3 team. Okay, so I've escalated to the tier 3 team. The ticket has been removed from my space. And if I go over into the tier 3 space, the ticket has appeared here. So this type of structure makes it really easy to do handoffs. They're clean and fast and easy to track. And lastly, what I want to say about spaces is that they are really easy to reconfigure. So as we all know, team reorgs are really common, especially as companies scale. Agents move around, they get promoted, specialists get spun up, and roles change. And this change can make it really challenging for admins to keep up with keeping the team organized. And that's why spaces are very quickly reconfigurable. So let's imagine a scenario at our company where it's renewal season. And more than ever, it's important for us to keep our VIP customers happy. So as an admin, as a business, we want to set up a dedicated Tiger team for our VIP customers. So I've created the team and they now need their own space to stay focused in, right? So I'm going to go to settings here, go to spaces, and within moments, I can create this space. VIP customer team, and I'm done. Okay, so here's the space. And then back in help desk, we'll see the space appears here so the team can just jump on in. And let's fast forward in time. Let's say the renewal season is over, our customers are all happy, and we no longer need this team or space. I can simply go in here and delete the space. It's gone, and it will be gone from help desk as well. Right? And that's a little bit about spaces. That's how teams can scale. And I'm happy to take questions later. I'll pass it over to Sophie.
All righty. I'm just going to grab the screen share from you, Smriti. All right. Can everyone see help desk?
Yes.
Great. All right, so hey everyone, my name is Sophie. I'm a product manager on one of the help desk teams. So my team cares a lot about the overall efficiency of the workspace, from how you move around in it to how you reply, but also to a lot of the ticket automation that powers the workspace. So I'll be stepping through a couple of quick demos on a pair of features that we built with more large, high volume teams in mind. The first one is for a tool called macros, and the second will be for a pair of features actually, ticket splitting and ticket reopening behavior that are designed to help customers manage reopened tickets in help desk. So we'll start with macros, which are currently available in public beta to service enterprise customers. And for some background, macros are a form of reply-driven automation, and they're meant to help reps handle more tickets faster by basically combining the sending of a message and the follow-up actions. So they're a really important tool in any help desk system because support reps are constantly multitasking. What we've heard from customers is that just because a rep sends the customer the answer to their question, that does not mean that the rep's work is necessarily done. They also have to change the status, the category, the description, they have to leave a note. And those clicks can add up really quickly and slow them down from handling the next customer problem. So macros are meant to streamline that process, allowing the rep to handle the sending of the message and those follow-up tasks. So I'm actually going to start over in settings, where as an admin, you can set macros up here under help desk customization and then macros. And here you can search, you can sort your macros, you can create and edit ones you've already made. I'll jump into one we've already created. On this page, you can add your name and your description. That's just internal for you and your team. And then you have your message composer. Right now, you have all your basic sort of text formatting options. You have hyperlinks, emojis, attachments, and personalization tokens. We have heard from beta testers that they want to see a lot more functionality in this composer, things like templates and snippets. So expanding this functionality is definitely on our roadmap. So I'm curious to hear from all of you what you would expect to see in this composer. So definitely fire away in the chat if there's specific tools that you would like to see in this composer. And then from here, you add your actions. And today, these actions are added with a workflow. I'd recommend building out this workflow first, so you don't have to like flip-flop back and forth between macros settings and the workflow tool. So we acknowledge that this process in beta is a little clunky right now. Something that we think is really important, though, is keeping the power of the automation platform in HubSpot in your hands and giving you access to any action that you might need. So while workflows are certainly more complex, they are incredibly powerful and flexible. And it really means that like anything that you can do with a workflow, you can do with a macro, which gives you quite the Swiss Army knife of actions that you could take. So this one's pretty simple. It just sets some properties, but when you think about things like adding tasks, sending emails, custom coded actions, webhooks, the world's kind of your oyster. So the caveat here is that this workflow does have to be ticket-based. You can't attach a contact or deal-based workflow to a macro. All right, so once you've made your macro, added your workflow, as a user, this is where I would add it. So it's right next to the send options buttons where you can see macros. You can kind of think about macros as like a bigger, better send options, basically. So you have your macros here. You can search as a user. You can manage if you have admin access. And then here's the description that you added. And then once you click that macro, it inserts the message that you composed. And it tells you what workflow is going to fire when you hit send. So that's the current state. The team is heads down adding a bunch of improvements and new functionality for macros over the next couple of months. Some of the things that we're thinking about are permissions and access. So sharing macros with users and teams. If you have a large global team who works across multiple product lines and multiple languages, you probably don't need them all to have access to every macro. So that's another thing we're thinking about, making it easier to search and sort. But I think the biggest one is making that creation flow easier and enabling a more unified, streamlined experience there. So with the disclaimer that this work is still in progress and subject to change, we'll give a sneak peek of what that's going to look like. So the team is working on this like embedded actions builder. So this would replace what you see here in settings, just to make adding those actions a little bit easier and expand the type of actions that you can add. So things like setting the status, the owner, the category, the description, they're going to be right here in this dropdown. And you will still have the option to enroll in a workflow. That's not going anywhere. But looking ahead, we really want this to be a smoother, faster, easier process. So just being mindful of time, I'm going to hop ahead to ticket splitting and ticket reopening behavior. But if you do have questions on macros, please put them in the chat or let us know. So we'll go to ticket splitting first, I guess. Some quick background about these features is that they were both originally designed to give customers a way to manage the scenario where closed tickets are reopening because of new replies. So ticket splitting came first, so we'll start there. And I guess to give you a bit of a peek under the hood without getting lost too much in the technical details, both of these features are part of our broader effort to truly consolidate the ticket and the conversation in Help Desk. If you have been around for a while, you probably heard us talk about how Help Desk was built to unify those two objects and to give support teams one central space in HubSpot to do their work. And we don't want that to just apply in this workspace that you're seeing. We also want that to apply behind the scenes with automation. So it's a long, often technically gnarly process, but these two features are examples of steps we're taking to get there. And I should also add that this is by no means sort of the final end state for what we expect these things to do. So ticket splitting was the first step we took, and it was designed as a way to help folks reactively manage that situation when tickets get reopened. We have been pleasantly surprised, I think, by how folks have found value in this tool for other purposes, but that was the use case we originally built for. So we've seen folks use this in scenarios where maybe a ticket comes in that needs attention from two teams, like billing and IT or customer success. And so the rep splits the ticket so that both of those users have their own ticket to work from. So I'm curious if any of you have used this feature, and if so, what are you using it for? Are you using it for ticket reopening management, or is it for something else? So to use this, you hit the actions button in the top right, and you split your ticket. It's kind of hard to see on this one, which doesn't have too many messages, but you can select one or all of the messages in this original ticket to copy them over to the next one to preserve that context. And then you hit confirm. And then you give your ticket a name. You can give it a status, a description, all that good stuff. One limitation to note is that if there's multiple contacts and companies associated to this ticket, we'll only copy over the first one that was associated. And you hit create, and you've got your new ticket. Another thing to be aware of is that right now this is only available on email or form tickets, mostly because that's where we're seeing the most customer pain. This reopening scenario doesn't tend to come up for chat, but that's why that exists. All right, so moving on. I guess if ticket splitting was a way to reactively manage reopened tickets, ticket reopening management workflows are a way to proactively manage them. And again, just a note about how this solution is working under the hood is that because there's no way to permanently close like an email in the same way that you can with a ticket, this solution actually does allow the ticket to reopen really briefly before it makes a new ticket and closes the old one. So this whole workflow is based off of a template. So don't feel like you have to like memorize what we're about to go over. You can grab the exact copy of this from the workflows tool in the template section. But how it works is it basically combines a couple new ticket properties and a new copy ticket action, which, fun fact, is literally just an automated version of the split ticket feature we just looked at. So if a ticket is reopened, the workflow enrollment criteria will catch that using a property ticket reopen date is known. That's what triggers the workflow. And then from there, you can decide if you want to apply like a time threshold to that. So in this case, I'm saying if a ticket was closed more than 5 days ago, close the original ticket and make a new one. If you wanted a new ticket to get reopened or created, no matter what, you could just get rid of that specific criteria. But if you wanted to give customers a week or 3 days, you would just adjust that time threshold accordingly. And then finally, you can use this copy ticket action to not only close the original ticket that was reopened, and the close date won't change, so it won't impact your reporting or SLAs. But you can also copy over the message, just like you could with split ticket, and pick a number of properties to be copied over. So I guess just to wrap up, a couple limitations to be aware of with this is similarly, it won't copy over all of the associated records, just the first two that were associated or contact and company. And you also won't see the copied message on the ticket record in the CRM. You'll see it on help desk, just not on the record. So we want to fix those gaps, but the main reason that we don't see this as like the final form of ticket reopening management and help desk is simply because we think that this needs to be like an easier, more streamlined experience. And we would love to have this be a simple setting and to avoid having you use a workflow for this if you don't want to. The workflow isn't going to go anywhere, and it works for most cases we find, but we think that there's a more artful solution that we can build. So that's what's in planning now. And I will hand it over to Kriti.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Sorry, I wasn't letting me mute. Okay, cool.
Yep, we gotcha.
Awesome. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know if you can see. All right. You guys can see my screen?
Yep.
Looking good.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. I'm Kriti and my pronouns are she, her. And before we kind of go further, I'd love to understand what is everyone's familiarity with customer agent in the chat. If folks don't mind responding, I'd love to know if you've been using customer agent. Is it completely new to you? So I can tailor the conversations. Let me just look at the chats. Okay, familiar. Testing not deep. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like you all are pretty familiar with the concept and some of you have been using it. It's good to know. Okay, so I wanted to get started with talking about, I think a lot of people, when they hear about AI doing the work, they worry that it's actually going to be replacing people. And I think that's the first thing that usually comes to mind. And that's not what this is about. It's about hybrid teams. So if you think about how humans do what humans are uniquely great at, which is like strategy, creativity, building relationships, and then the AI handles the mind-numbing stuff, right? Like data entry, research at 2 a.m. and answering the same kind of question at the same time. So that's kind of what this whole presentation section is going to be about. Do next slide. And I think something that a lot of people don't realize is 80% of what you know about your customers isn't sitting in like a neat CRM fields. It's buried in like email threads, call recordings, support tickets, and all of the unstructured data. And most AI tools don't really touch that. They only see the 20% that's really neatly organized as like database fields, which is like name, company, deal, stage, things like that. And we can read with Breeze. Our AI helps you just not only pulling from those fields, but it's pulling from actual conversations, real customer interactions in the full context. Right. Yeah, so I think you guys answered this in terms of where you guys are with familiarity with customer agent and AI. So I'll now move into introducing you to the Zen Plant Care. Zen Plant Care sells exotic plants and rare orchids. They do florals for weddings and corporate events, and they handle a lot of like subscriptions for their businesses on plant installations as well. So they're a small team. They have really big ambitions, and they face problems like customers reaching out when they're closed, teams buried in repetitive questions, and tons of valuable customer knowledge scattered across email and conversations that nobody will see when they need it. So I will move to the next, which is the owner of customer. This customer basically said that customers shop when they have time at night and weekends, but they're only available from 9 to 5. So if you think about that, her customers are browsing at 9 p.m. after their kids are put to bed. They're planning office redesigns on a Sunday morning, and they're researching wedding florals at midnight. But Sarah's team is completely closed, so there's no one there. And then the customers could potentially leave, and then they go to a competitor who responds faster. So that's a loss of a lot of deals. And that's the reality for a lot of small teams. And I think a lot of people can resonate to. And that's what Customer Agent will be solving for. So I will move now to the demo portion. So I already had kind of kicked it off, but let's say that it's like a Saturday 9 o'clock at night, and a customer lands on this beautiful page and they're finding out what they're looking for. So they reach out saying, do you do centerpieces for outdoor garden weddings? All right, let's see how the agent is responding. So just taking a second to think. So if you see now, the customer agent is starting to pull information from their product catalog and is potentially referencing prior information. So they're asking now for, do you have more details about your event or a specific style? So let's say that the customer wants to respond with, I have to copy and paste, I had prepared for you guys. Late September, we want about 150 guests in the Hamptons, and the theme is Bridgerton. So I think let's pause for a second. I think it's having this conversation that's happening is the same conversation that a real human sales rep could have had, like a wedding specialist, during an in-person or phone consultation. So it's right now, it's asking the right questions, qualified questions about what the bride actually wants and envisions. It's giving more detail. And then it's saying, do you want more ideas? Let me know how bold you want to go, etc. So we could continue having like a back and forth interaction. But I think for the sake of time, what we will say is thanks so much. I'd love to book time and chat with a specialist. And it will now just take a second. The customer agent will share a link to schedule a meeting with the specialist directly. And I actually have that up here. This is how it responds. Here's a link to book your 30-minute virtual consultation, or if you wanted to do more. So if I click that link, it's going to take me to directly a place so that I can actually start booking and adding that to the cart. And so now a meeting is booked, and the human agent will walk into a qualified meeting with someone who's already excited. So now behind the scenes, what's actually happening is once the bride provides the email to book that meeting, customer agent automatically will create a contact record in a CRM, logs the entire conversation and captures those informations, and marks as a qualified lead. So that's like super, super, I think, powerful to be able to use. And now the customer agent isn't just on your website. It's available to configure for website chat, Facebook Messenger, email, voice calls, and even SMS if you want. So it's one agent handling conversations everywhere your customers are. Now I'm going to show you where the customer agent actually sits. It's under the service bell like icon. And if you go down here, you'll see customer agent. You can click that, and this is the overview section. I'm going to click manage. And the reason I wanted to go to this screen is it's one agent that can switch also between two goals depending on what each visitor needs. And you can set up those goals right here. You can see that there's two of them. One is lead generation down here, and lead generation is focused on capturing information, qualifying prospects, and booking meetings with your sales team. So that's just an example of how you can fill this out and configure this based on that need. And then we have also resolve issues, and that's support. So it's solving problems, finding answers, and you can even connect it with your system so it handles questions like, where's my order? And so that's how an example of that here. You can define, and you can also connect to your system. Cool. So now most businesses use both, and then the agent will know when to switch based on the conversation. So a prospect asking about pricing will have lead generation mode, and an existing customer with an account question will have support mode, all handled by one agent. I will now move to the next portion, which is the performance tab. And in the performance tab, what you'll see are reports of all of like the conversations that your agent has been able to handle, conversations resolved, the resolution rate, time to resolution, deflection rate, and your positive like visitor feedback essentially. And on the bottom are just a bunch of charts that you can drill into on more details of series over time, handle rate, and one of my personal favorites, just to give you a quick preview, is the customer agent handoff. And what that does is you can see exactly when the agent has handed off to a human versus when you're actually using the agent to respond, the AI agent. So that's a really cool, I think, chart to look into and drill down. You can also see all of the agents, the human agents, along with your customer agent, Luma in our case, and how they're performing in terms of conversations. We'll be definitely doing more revamps to that. And I will show you now knowledge gaps. So this is when the customer agent responds to the end user saying, I don't know, like I don't know the answer to this. And what this is saying is these are the questions that the agent could not answer confidently. Such as like, if we click into meeting booked, you'll see this is the actual conversation in live chat between the customer agent and your end visitor asking, and the customer agent didn't have enough information. So you can now actually respond with the answer you want to give, and then the agent will create that as a short answer, and that will be a new source that your agent will be leveraging to respond on future conversations. there's a bunch of these that I think every week you'll see they're generated, and they're topics that the agent could not answer in the last 30 days as a reminder. And these aren't just missed questions, they're potential lost revenue. You can make sure that the agent will learn from it and answer it forever so that it will know. Things like sustainability policies, pricing guide, anything that you want, it will learn it based on here. And if you wanted to create a new knowledge base, you can do that too. I'll now show you the handoffs. So when things get complex, you can also click human handoff. And here is when you can say that I want to hand off to a human agent, and the team will continue to get everything, which is like the full conversation, customer history, and what they need. And there's not like a need to start over net new. It will have the context. Human agents will also have the context. And you can set that up here. So currently here I have added these triggers on billing, refund. All of these are triggers so that we can have a new, like a human agent, and you can add a new trigger by clicking add trigger here, and you can change that to, let's say, I'll do add pricing information. So what this means is now anytime your customer asks anything in the chat that says pricing information or any of these terms here, it will hand off to a human agent on your team. And that's super, I think, powerful and helpful so that you also have control over when you truly want a human involved in the picture. This is, yeah, you can continue to configure more here as well based on what you would want that exact message to be. So here the message is, I'd be happy to transfer to human, please hold for a moment. You can also edit that handoff process and change the tone and the way that the agent is stating that. Cool, so I think I went over quite a bit, but just to recap, like what this actually means for Zenplan Care team is that the customer agent transformed their after hours problems into a revenue opportunity. Every visitor gets instant help, leads are qualified and routed automatically with their details captured in the CRM. And their human team can focus on closing deals and handling complex arrangements instead of answering, like, do you do garden weddings, for example? And that's really the power of having the AI concierge working 24/7. Yeah, so I will now pass it to Mark, actually, because of the time.
All right. Yeah, I think this is it from us. So yeah, Lars, what do you think? Do we have any open questions we want to tackle and take right now?
Sure. I went through the list, and I think most of them are actually answered during the session, which is fantastic. And as Kriti also mentioned just in the chat, please be aware of the Ask Me Anything, because I think let's continue this dialogue. We're not only in this situation, but let's try to give as much feedback we definitely can on these enrollments, because I think, Sophie, as you also mentioned, there are some forwarding things here. There are definitely some new ideas coming up, and some have coming up in the chat and the Q&A here today as well. So keep it going. I think that's the inspiration. We can all try to give feedback to you guys to see it solved over time. I hope personally that we have kind of confirmed, or how to put that this platform has evolved a lot. I stated 12 to 18 months, I guess, in the start, and I think that's definitely true. So I'm just looking forward what is going to happen for the next 12 to 18 months on that as well. So I think the right way to handle it time-wise is you have the link in the chat to the community part. Let's meet there and try to give as much feedback as we can. So I think I will end the session unless there's some very, very important thing I haven't seen here yet. Thank you for meeting up so early for some of you, based on the west coast of the US. That's That's really appreciated. I think you gave us a great overview of the many parts that are moving within just the help desk, which we have focused on today, on the AI part, not only a customer agent, also some of the parts you mentioned, Mark, on the overall look of the all tickets, giving AI analysis coming in that area is really, really exciting. Spaces is just nice because you start to segment better than you have been able to do it before. And I guess macros and splitting is just needed if we want to handle the big ticket volumes and stuff like that. So I think we should end the session here. Thank you all. Thank you for meeting up, you guys from HubSpot, the Beyond the Ticket team, as I called you in the start, and especially all of you who came in to hear about all the new evolvements within Service Hub. Very much appreciated. We will have a session in Q1 again on a topic you guys can definitely be part of what we should focus on that session. So please give us feedback on that part as well. So great. Thanks all, and see you next time, and have a great vacation time that is upcoming here. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.